Hello and welcome from Joe's Valley Reservoir in Orange Hill, Utah. We're going to be upgrading today to the Morride shackle and wet bolt kit. We are not sponsored, we're completely DIY, and also whatever we do on this channel works for us, may not work for you, and don't try it at home.
Do try it at home, just maybe at your own risk.
There you go.
So we're upgrading to the Morride suspension, as Carrie said, the wet bolt and shackle kit, and it's a much stronger system that they provide. From the factory, our trailer came with the Dexter Easy Flex, but it did not come with the wet bolt kit. So while I'm in there doing the wet bolt kit, I might as well upgrade the shackles to the Morride system.
Yep.
So follow us along and I'll show you how we do it.
Before I pass it over to Brandon, we are in a state or federal campground. I'm not entirely sure which one. And you want to be aware that when you're on the road full time, is that some places don't allow you to do your repairs or maintenance items. So do your research and make sure that it's okay. But also be aware that there's going to be people around you that don't want the maintenance noises. Luckily, right now we are in just the start of September. It's kind of the off season for camping. So just be respectful of the people around you and also the campgrounds, and leave no trace. Make sure you clean up after yourself and just are respectful of those around you.
Okay, so here's a couple of things that you will need to do this upgrade if you're gonna do it. Let's start over here. So I actually bought this jack. It's called a Tall Boy by Power Mountain, and it has all these little attachments to raise the bottle jack up super tall. So I can actually jack up on the frame of the trailer, and then I can use my secondary jack to manipulate each axle to be able to install the shackles, because otherwise you'll have a fight on your hands. A good wrench set, multiple sizes. I think this kit's 3/4 and 13 16ths, yeah, is the two wrenches you will need. Your trailer may have different sizes and whatnot, so a whole set is great to have. I have a Milwaukee Impact. This is not necessary, but it makes your life a lot easier. A full set of 3/4 inch sockets. I have all deeps and then a few shallows. A torque wrench, a grease gun with grease. I have a chisel and hammer to push out the plastic bushings that are in there from the factory, and then they will be replaced with these bronze bushings that are on the Morride kit. So on the Dexter Flex kit, you don't need some of these because the Dexter system already has bronze bushings inside. I'll show you in the video, but some of these you will not need. But yeah, and then a rag for cleanup because your grease will be pretty messy. Okay, so I'm using this jack to jack up on the frame itself. I've already lifted up all of our stabilizers around the trailer and wheel chock the other side, so it shouldn't go anywhere. Let's hope. Go ahead and release our X chock, get it out of the way. All right, so I'm just bringing up just the jacks or the tires just barely off the ground, and then I'll set down my stabilizers just to reinforce any wobbling. If you were doing this at home, you wouldn't have the slide out, but it just makes it easier for us. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this, but from the factory, these bushings are plastic in these leaf springs. So I'm just punching them out. Sometimes they come out easy. Sometimes you pretty much have to fold them in half. But as you can see, this one's pretty much destroyed from movement in there. So that's why we're replacing them. Just kind of cleaning out in there. And then the easiest way that I've found to push these in is get your old shackle bolt, and then you can just drive them home with a hammer. Just kind of feel them, make sure they're kind of flush on either side. And then these shackle bolts, they have these little indentations that they actually have to be sucked in to this metal to stop them from spinning. So that's what's nice about the impact, is you can start this nut and just go till it's pulled in. Then I like to loosen it a little bit and then actually torque it. They say 80 foot-pounds. So that's another thing. If you were doing this in your driveway, this is not the smoothest place to do this. That one was in much better shape than the other one. It wasn't worn nearly as bad. So this is the difference in the thickness of the Morride versus my factory one. It's easily over double the thickness. So should be much stronger. Well, it will be much stronger, not should. And then the Dexter Easy Flex already has a bronze bushing in it, so we won't need to pound a bushing into the lower part, only into the upper. Nope, just the rag. Thank you. All right, so there's that. Give it a couple pumps of grease. Doesn't take much, about 3 pumps. Oops. And then to grease these, from what I've read online, is the weight has to be off the suspension to be able to grease these. Otherwise, the grease won't go into them. I'm not sure if that's true or not, so you'll just have to try it and see what happens. But that's one side. I will put this rim back on real fast and then do the other side. Hmm? And while you're doing this, it would be a great time to check out all your brakes. I'm going to do that next so I can make sure everything's good in here, and inspect all your tires. Make sure there's no bulges or, you know, failures. Trailer tires are notorious for failing, so it's a great time to do that. And I'm sure I'm gonna catch hell for doing this in sandals and shorts, but it's how I do everything. Except welding. I've learned my lesson. Burning in between your toes doesn't feel great. Sometimes you just have to fight these to get that bolt out. Wow, this has been the worst one of them all. So if you have to pound it in just a little bit, just find a socket that goes over that little greaser so you don't bust it off, and then you can just tap it in. Make sure it's not too far off or you'll ruin the threads, but if it's close, it'll go through. tight. Man, sometimes these little things work a little bit too well. Jeez. All right. So that is that. I would say you could do, I mean, if you have all the tools and everything ready, maybe a half an hour per side. But now just, I'll slap the tire on, torque all my lug nuts, and I'd call it good enough. So thanks for watching. And if you found this entertaining, if you would learn something from it, or just enjoy watching, subscribe and like the video. That would be awesome. Thank you.